During World War II, the Allies developed a weapon that would fundamentally change the nature of combat: the proximity fuse. Unlike conventional shells that required direct hits, proximity fuse shells detonated when near their targets, whether in the air or over enemy troops. This simple but revolutionary idea dramatically increased the effectiveness of anti-aircraft artillery, altered infantry tactics, and saved thousands of lives. The first decisive use came in London. On August 28, 1944, early warning radar detected 100 V-1 flying bombs aimed at the city. Anti-aircraft batteries equipped with proximity fuse shells destroyed 96. RAF fighters accounted for more, leaving only 4 to reach their targets. Without these new shells, casualties would have exceeded 20,000 dead and 50,000 wounded. Winston Churchill later wrote, "The proximity fuse, more than any other single development, saved London from devastation by flying bombs." In Antwerp, Belgium, the impact was equally staggering. By December 15, 1944, U.S. Army artillery units had destroyed 89 of 92 V-1s targeting the vital port, a 97% success rate. Between October 1944 and March 1945, Germany launched nearly 4,900 V-1 south at Antwerp. Over half of those fired at London. Initial defenses using conventional shells were only 40% effective. But after a Lancaster bomber delivered 10,000 proximity fuses directly from Cincinnati, success rates soared to over 90%, keeping the port open and sustaining Allied advances into Germany. The first combat use of proximity fuses on land occurred during the Battle of the Bulge. On December 16, 1944, Colonel Oscar Alfred Axelson faced overwhelming German infantry near Manchau. With orders not to use the shells on land, Axelson made a fateful decision. He fired them set for Airburst. The results were apocalyptic. Shells exploded above German troops, raining lethal fragments into foxholes, behind walls, and into forest cover. Forward observers reported 80% casualties in the first salvo alone. German soldiers were unprepared for artillery that killed regardless of cover. News spread rapidly, and by December 21, Eisenhower authorized widespread use across the front. Industrial achievement was central to the fuse's success. Proximity fuses required 130 precision components, including miniature vacuum tubes capable of surviving extreme acceleration forces. Factories across America, from converted bakeries to automobile garages, operated 24/7. By spring 1944, the U.S. was producing 70,000 fuses per day, more than Germany's entire monthly output of conventional shells. 87 companies, 110 factories, and 80,000 workers produced over 22 million fuses in total. Women, unaware of the deadly significance of their work, assembled components with meticulous precision. Tragically, decades later, many suffered from beryllium disease due to exposure to toxic solder materials. The tactical revolution was undeniable. Artillery that could detonate midair rendered traditional defensive tactics obsolete. Trenches and foxholes were no longer safe. On land, units experienced devastating casualties psychologically. Entire German battalions surrendered rather than face airburst shells. At sea, anti-aircraft fire became dramatically more effective, reducing aircraft losses per kill from thousands of rounds to just 155 rounds per aircraft, improving operational efficiency by 6,001,200%. Germany and Japan attempted to develop similar fuses but failed. Germany pursued multiple programs: acoustic, photoelectric, electrostatic, and magnetic, but lacked the miniaturized vacuum tubes, industrial capacity, and coordination to mass produce them. Japan, unable to comprehend the technology, resorted to kamikaze tactics, trading human lives for minimal damage. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union acquired a complete fuse through espionage in 1944, enabling eventual deployment. The human dimension of the proximity fuse was profound. Scientists such as Merle Tuve and James Van Allen risked careers and lives to perfect shockproof vacuum tubes and assembly methods. Factory workers, often women, performed dangerous, repetitive work in secrecy, unaware that their hands soldered components that would save thousands of lives. Artillerymen and sailors immediately recognized the weapon's power. Gunners mate Anthony Poole of USS Helena reflected, "These green-banded shells were like having God on our side." Statistical evidence underscores the weapon's decisive role. In the Pacific, proximity fuses destroyed an estimated 4,000 Japanese aircraft, over 3,300 more than conventional ammunition would have achieved. V1 defensive campaigns in London and Antwerp prevented thousands of civilian deaths and kept vital supply lines open. During the Battle of the Bulge, 200,000 shells fired in 2 weeks caused 1,015,000 German casualties, compared to 2,000 using conventional artillery. Beyond combat, the fuse shaped the future of technology. Miniaturization and shock-hardening techniques influenced the development of transistors, integrated circuits, and space instrumentation. Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, created for proximity fuse development, continues to drive innovation in defense and space exploration. The proximity fuse represents the first smart weapon, a precursor to radar-guided missiles, laser-guided bombs, and GPS-directed munitions. Allied cooperation was key. British scientists provided the concept, and early prototypes American industry perfected mass production. This model of technological collaboration laid the groundwork for NATO and post-war science-military partnerships. The security measures rivaled the Manhattan Project, ensuring that German and Japanese forces could not replicate the technology. Captured fuses were dismissed by German scientists as impossible, and Japanese pilots could not comprehend their accuracy. The proximity fuse's impact is recognized among the top 3 decisive technologies of World War II, alongside radar and the atomic bomb. Unlike atomic weapons, it was deployed continuously, saving hundreds of thousands of lives, destroying tens of thousands of enemy units, and altering tactics across air, land, and sea. Its legacy endures. The stories of Merle Tuve, James Van Allen, Lloyd Berkner, and countless factory workers remind us that innovation, dedication, and sacrifice can change history. Ordinary people, using extraordinary skills, produced a weapon that thought for the soldier, multiplying human capability and securing freedom. From London skies to the Ardennes forests, the proximity fuse was more than technology, it was the embodiment of Allied ingenuity, courage, and collaboration. The proximity fuse proved that wars could be won not only through bravery and sacrifice, but through industrial might, scientific innovation, and the smart application of technology. Its invention reshaped combat forever, ushering in the age of intelligent weaponry, and saving lives on a scale few other wartime innovations ever could. Every shell fired, every factory worker, every scientist contributed to a future where freedom and life could survive the most destructive forces the world had ever seen.